Welcome back. All right, let's talk about news of the day. It's not all injuries today. Aren't you excited? It's not all injuries today. It really isn't. There was some minor injury stuff that went on, but nothing to report on a lot of it yet. We'll start with an injury, though, just so that you guys understand it's still THG news video. Stone is week to week for Vegas. They're saying he should be back before the end of the regular season. Lower body injury. They're not giving us any other information. So, in the midst of an 8-game winning streak, they don't feel any need to rush him back, nor should they. So, how that's going to affect them, I've got a funny feeling it probably won't. But let's all act surprised when it doesn't. Speaking of which, and again, I understand, it's a news video, so you got to talk about injuries. Kreider, the speculation is 4 to 6 weeks for Chris Kreider, and for Rangers fans after the back-to-backs against Florida, or Philadelphia, I should say. There may be more fear that we need him back now. Can he play? And I did during the game while Lundqvist allowed that 5th goal. I wondered if John Davidson might be talking to medical personnel and to Shesterkin himself and going, so at what point do you think he can come in and play a little bit? At what point can that be possible? So, the Rangers, again, I don't think there's any need to go full-on panic. I'll do a panic index on Wednesday. We'll see where I have them on Wednesday. But, again, Kreider, 4 to 6 weeks is the tentative timeline, though they haven't said for sure. So, February's done. Who's the NHL Rookie of the Month for February? It's Quinn Hughes. 13 games played, 2 goals, 13 assists, 15 points. He's had his struggles at times this year, but it's easy to forget that he's still a kid. He's still learning. He's playing a lot of ice time for a kid. He's basically being put in every single situation by the Canucks, and he's being expected to kind of help put the team on his back on the blue line and lead them where, honestly, it should be Edler that's the number one guy in the blue line. It should be Edler who's the go-to guy, and Hughes is being slowly brought along. But this year it's been Quinn Hughes exceeding expectations and playing very, very well. That being said, the race for the Rookie of the Year is still pretty darn hotly contested, and I'm not getting into that right now. Now, Stars of the Month around the National Hockey League. Your first star is Leon Draisaitl. So, for people who say he's not getting enough attention, they're not talking enough about him. He's the first star of the month. People are talking a lot about Draisaitl. And it's just, I think it's just years of the accusation being that Draisaitl's a passenger for McDavid being out there, and this year he's doing very, very well on his own, that there's a lot of see, and none of us are disputing that anymore. I don't know of anybody at this point who's disputing that Draisaitl can do this on his own, that he needs McDavid. Second star is Mika Zibanejad. He had a good start to March today as well with 2 goals and an assist in the game he played this morning. And Zibanejad has just been absolutely fantastic for the New York Rangers. Just absolutely great since coming back from injury. And Boston's David Pastrnak, who has started to definitely garner some interest when it comes to Hart Trophy considerations, because he is pretty far clear when it comes to scoring leaders with the Boston Bruins. And that is a measure of who your most important player is. How far removed is he from number 2 on the scoring list? And in Pasternak's case, it is substantial right now. So we'll see how things turn out. But those are your 3 stars of the month. Apparently, you had to have at least 3 syllables in your last name or you couldn't be considered for 3 stars of the month. I am, of course, kidding. Now, what I'm not kidding about is the GM's meetings start tomorrow in Boca Raton, Florida. They're not expected to be meetings that generate a whole bunch of new rules and big changes to the game, because I don't think it needs it. I think the game's pretty good. But there are a few things here that I was reading up on that I'm like, yep. The emergency backup goalie situation. There are GMs saying, you know what, it's happened twice with Foster and Ayers. It's not a big deal. It's very rare. It's kind of a perfect storm when both goaltenders get hurt. And then the question gets asked too. So let's say we do make it so that you have to carry a third goaltender. Can he be an employee? Does he have to be a member of the union? If he's a member of the union, does he count against your salary cap? What kind of payroll does he get? There are a lot of questions being asked by GMs that are very good questions. And something else that's discussed about it too is it may have to go into the next collective bargaining agreement. We may not have an agreement on this because it needs to be CBA approved. So it would need to go into the next CBA. And you'd have to discuss it with the NHLPA if it's going to involve adding another job for every single team in the league. NHLPA has to be on board with that, and they have to agree with the conditions. We'll see if that changes. I don't think anything's going to change, to be honest, because again, It's such a rarity. Offsides. So this is something we've discussed before. Should it matter if a guy's foot is on the ice or up? I don't think so. I think if his foot breaks the plane of the blue line, that's all that should matter. I think when they made this rule and they made it the way that they did, I don't think they had any idea that decades later we would have instant replays and slow motion cameras. And I think it was created just to make sure guys aren't cherry picking. That's really all it is, just to make sure that what are you doing at that? Okay, Pavel, you've got to come back here. All right, no, you can't be down there. I'm talking about Bure here, not Buchnevich. I'm talking about Bure. And yeah, if we didn't have an offside rule, Bure just would have parked himself at the other end of the ice, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to stay here because I'm going to get some goals today, and it would have worked. That's the thing, it would have worked. But offsides, I think, with how we're calling it now, I don't think that's in the spirit of how the rule was initially intended. And so it gets kind of tricky from there. You have to call offsides, you have to have the replay, but I do think that if the skate's down or not down, because when we're looking at a replay, we're going, is his toe on the ice? That's not what offside was for. I'm sorry, I really don't see that being what offside was for at all when they initially brought out the rule. And then something Jim Rutherford brought up, and I fully agree with him. There are so many defensemen that since hybrid icing came in, they intentionally create icings. They skate slow. How many times have you seen this where you're like, oh, that was a lot of effort there to get back to that puck there, buddy? Are you okay? You tired? Do you need to take some time off? Do you need to skate off the ice? Are you all right? You need to go full on coach from Letterkenny on these guys. And not only that, but he pointed out defensemen turning the wrong way. So it's like, okay, that puck just went by me. If I go this way, I'll probably get to it. But if I turn that way, I won't. So I'll turn that way, it's icing. So he thinks there's a lot more icings right now than we should be seeing in the game because teams are making it happen. And with hybrid icing being the way that it is, you don't have to worry about those crashes into the end boards. Those were horrible. And we saw some really horrible crashes into those end boards on icings. I agree. But I think just full on, just take the hybrid right out and do it like they do in juniors. No touch icing. Just make it no touch icing and just leave it at that. And again, I know there's people who don't like it, but in juniors, I really don't complain about it. I've been to junior games, I've watched junior games, never gone, if only there was a race for that puck on that icing. Oh well. So yeah, I think if they just went full on no touch with it. But again, I don't see any reason to think that'll come out of these meetings, but I think that is something they should at least look at. And they talked about playoff format, and it was Doug Armstrong that was interviewed for the article, and he basically said it like this. Going 1 versus 8 sounds fantastic if you're in the Eastern Conference, where the teams are mostly all bunched together. In the West, having the divisional playoffs and then, having the division winners against each other makes a lot more sense just for travel reasons. And the 1 versus 8 was just killer for the West. So it sounds like, Eastern Conference teams are probably like, yeah, let's do this. And in the West, it's kind of, for travel reasons. So again, it doesn't sound like they're going to change the format, but it does sound like it'll probably come up. And again, it's that same thing, right? Tampa Bay and Boston are two of the best teams in the league, and they could meet in the second round. We've seen best teams in the league meet each other in the second round for a long time. Even when it was 1 versus 8, there were problems with 1 versus 8, where teams 4 versus 5 would be two really good teams, and you'd see a division winner in a top spot that wasn't as good as the team who might have been 4th or 5th. So we will never find a playoff format everybody agrees with. It's never going to happen. I know there's somebody right now viciously typing on their keyboard, probably breaking it with, I've got a solution for everybody. There isn't. There just isn't. And 1 versus 16, if they're worried about travel to go back to 1 versus 8 rather than divisional, then 1 versus 16 is a non-starter with general managers, likely with owners and the NHL altogether. Just think about it if you had a first-round matchup between the Florida Panthers and the Vancouver Canucks. And then at the same time, you have a first-round matchup between the Montreal Canadiens and the New York Islanders. So, again, that travel, it doesn't work. So, I don't think they're going to change anything, but they could. There are sometimes some surprises that come out of these GM meetings. I would think the emergency backup thing stays the same. I don't think they think that's going to change. Offsides, they're going to talk about it. They're always talking about it. Just let me into the meeting. Let me into the meeting, and I'll just say, all right, so we all agree plane of the blue line, right? Don't ask me who I am. It doesn't matter who I am. He knows who I am. That's awesome. No, I should be here. Listen, just agree. We all agree, right? Just nod. Okay, grunt. Okay, security's going to drag me out of here. We're not going to agree. That's how the NHL works. It doesn't. And the icing, I think that's going to be probably discussed on some level, but I don't think that goes anywhere either. And it's a crying shame that it doesn't, but I don't think that's going to necessarily change. Let me know what you guys would want to bust into the GM meetings and say we need to change this. What's the one thing in the NHL you think needs to change? Is it goalie interference? Is it instant replay? Is it just the way the officiating is handled? Is it player safety? Get Peros out of there. What would it be? Let me know that. And while I'm at it, I would like to thank patrons Cody Beekman, Dallas Roselle, and Forrest Dagg for their continued support on Patreon. As we get into March and we're getting close to the playoffs. I can feel it. I'm getting kind of excited about the playoffs. It's getting closer. And, you know, you look at these races and you go, hey, look at that. Games remaining, less than 20. We're getting there. And it's going to be fun from here. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Warms the cockles of my heart, which are, I think, right in around this area. I think that's right around where it is. My heart shouldn't be over here. I may need to go see somebody. All right, I will talk to you guys again, likely very soon.